defensively. Giving up a big sack that loses that kind of yardage, not a great start.
And the job becomes twice as difficult now. After the sack, it's 2nd and 20. Goff turns and gives to Gurley. And a nice gain there as he'll be taken down just shy of the 20. A good positive play there, 9 yards, but still 3rd and long. Throwing on 3rd, Goff. And Woods has it complete. And he's got it past the 30 before he's hit and dropped. First down, Los Angeles there with a pickup of 14 yards. And now with that completion, he's north of 200 yards here in the first half.
And he's going to break our statistician Marvin, isn't he? Because Marvin right now is just tallying it up. Hope his hand doesn't hurt too much doing this or keeps hitting the calculator. But my goodness, what a start he is off to. By the end of this game, he could have monster numbers. He just wants to continue to be accurate.
Give him 4 yards there. It'll be 2nd and 6. Well, they don't need to run another play here before the 2-minute warning. Let's see if they do it anyway. Now Goff gets this into the hands of Brandon Cooks. And he'll get up to the 43-yard line. 6 yards to pick up, and that's a first down. Second quarter, 2 minutes to go. Tie ball game. A reminder coming up here at halftime, we'll ship you off to Orlando. Jonathan Coachman will have first-half highlights and analysis from a back-and-forth first half that we've seen. Goff throwing complete to Kupp and taking it across midfield and inside the 45. That's a gain of 13, first down Rams. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Derek Barnett in there to get him. It's a loss of 5. After the sack on first down, Goff. And the pressure gets to him again. Malik Jackson able to get in there for his second sack of the afternoon. On third down, they'll run it with Gurley. And he'll be brought down just shy of midfield. The 49-yard line. Now the Eagles will use the second of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over 40 seconds to go in the first half. Here's Johnny Hekker now as he'll punt it away for the second time. And not what he was hoping for there, as this will hit in the end zone for a touchback. Philadelphia getting set to take the field. And we're under a minute to go here in what's been an even first half, all tied up.
Yeah, still time to make something happen, too. A couple completions, you string them together, could get into field goal range. Let's see what happens.
Throwing his Wentz. Rodgers brings it in. And up to the 35 before they're able to knock him down. Philadelphia picking up the first on a gain of 15. First down now, but that clock rolling. Now Wentz. And he finds his tight end. It's Ertz.
And that is...
They're going to have this across midfield and inside the 45. The Eagles will take their third and final timeout as they'll stop the clock with 12 seconds to go in this first half. Back-to-back good plays have them on the move on first down. Shotgun now for Wentz. Looking deep for his tight end Ertz. And that is incomplete. 7 seconds remaining. An incomplete pass on first down. That leads to a 2nd and 10. Wentz to throw again. He's going to throw one up for the end zone. And he bats it away, and it falls down incomplete. So we've hit halftime all even at 14 apiece. As we'll send you eastward to Orlando. Standing by with that EA Sports halftime report now is Jonathan Coachman. Take it away, Coach.
We thought this one would be a close battle coming in, and we have not been disappointed. But they are all even to this point. So to see if either side can pull away, let's get you right back out to Brandon and Charles for the start of the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you, and we welcome everyone back for quarter number 3. And ready to get the party started for the second half. It was an even first half, all tied on the scoreboard. That'll be taken in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. And now out on the field, here comes Los Angeles. First half showed us some pretty good offense. Tie game, we'll see what the second half brings.
And it'll be interesting because I think both sides feel pretty good about what their offenses are doing. Got to wonder what adjustments are being made defensively to try and get a spark and maybe slow down the other side.
But here, do you change up anything on this opening drive?
Not offensively, you don't. You got everything going your way. You've probably prepared for maybe some change-ups you might expect, but overall, you like what your game plan's showing you.
Good work to pick up 7 yards there. That gets them into a 3rd and 1 situation. Goff off the bootleg. And able to find Higbee. It's complete. So much for the run on 3rd and 1. Instead, it's a big chunk in the pass game. First down. And with that last play, he's now up over that 300-yard mark.
And in today's NFL, it almost feels routine. And I hate that when you talk about a 300-yard passing game. To me, 300 yards still signifies excellence, and he's achieved that in this performance.
He was brought down by Kamu Grugier-Hill.
And as runners, you like to blitz even on rundowns. It confuses the blocking assignments. It doesn't allow those offensive linemen to get up to the second level.
The run got 4. Now they deal with a 2nd and 6. Back to throw. Goff. He's going to dump it off to Gurley. And he works it to the 30-yard line here, right at the 30. 6 yards to pick up, and that's a first down.
Everyone's got to be able to catch the football. Doesn't matter what position you play, but if you're on offense, be aware a ball may come your way.
So 1st and 10 now from the 30. Back to the workhorse today. It's Gurley. And he is met quickly in the backfield. Down he goes, folded like a lawn chair.
Everything they had in 2021, they attacked critical race theory in 2022, they attacked woke in 2023, they attacked DEI in 2024. They are absolutely angry with what I call the reconstruction, and they said, oh no, we are going to destroy this. Y'all ain't, black folks, you Negroes ain't having no footprint ever again. That's their dream. It's a dying dream. This is their death rattle. And like many trapped animals, they are the most dangerous when they are facing their end. The strongest and only consistent diversity, equity, and inclusion grouping in the history of the United States of America is whiteness. The DEI intellectual Christopher Rufo, who if he were a black man would not be writing or talking about anything, but because he is a white man and a white nationalist, he's promoted and platformed to talk about things he doesn't understand, is giving voice to their fantasy. It's a dying fantasy, but in its death cell, in its death rattle, it is perhaps its most dangerous. I spent yesterday in New York at the Schomburg Center testifying before the New York State Reparations Commission. I was there last year when Governor Hochul, who we saw testifying today there in Congress, signed the bill and the legislation creating the study commission in New York. And as I anticipated, I wrote my remarks, fully anticipating that I would be shouted at from the audience, from the descendants of slaves crowd, which they did. I kind of smiled. It's recorded. It's out there in New York State.
website, you'll see me kind of chuckle and say, I'm here for all the smoke, all the baby smoke. And, but I bring it up for this reason. Afterward, I had a long conversation standing outside the Schomburg on 135th and Malcolm X with many of these folks, these freedmen, these ADOS folk, who I embrace because I understand the pain that they're speaking from. But as we had the conversation, which was very amicable, and you know, because we're talking with a spirit of generosity, we all want the same thing. But what melted away from them was any logic connected with this blackface nativism. The idea in New York City of all places that you separate yourself from cultural polyglot that is New York City and stand on the other side opposite people who are in harm's way exactly like you and who, to your point, are in harm's way exactly like them is absurd on its face, and their arguments melted away. I said all that as a backdrop to this. That House Oversight Committee, which is run by another DEI politician, James Comer, who, if he were a black man, would be excoriated widely for being as stupid as he is, and of course the Congresswoman from WrestleMania, Congresswoman Macho Man Savage from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia, another DEI politician, if he were a black woman, would be widely excoriated. When we saw Summerlee and Jasmine Crockett do what they are going to do increasingly, and Maxwell Frost on that committee, which is assume leadership in a Democratic Party, it's coming down to this. We will embrace the politics of solidarity.
It's a tough one right there. He ran right into the teeth of the blitz as the linebacker was freed up in order to stop that one for a loss. I think quarterbacks got to see that. Got to find a way to audible into something a little more advantageous.
A rare misstep on that last play because the drive has been strong, but now it's 2nd and 12. And he'll go down at the 28. 4 yards on the pickup there as they get it back to a more manageable 3rd and 7. Here's play number 7 on the drive. This is 3rd and 7. Out of the gun. He gets it to Coates. And he's going to be brought down. He needed to get to the 20, but he's a yard or two short. The completion good for only 6, and that'll bring up 4th.
They didn't get the first down, but I have to say I do like the call. I like what they were trying to do. Try and hit your receiver on the run and see if he can pick it up. Keep it on his feet, get a little rack yardage.
Yeah, but a nice job defensively to get to him and keep him short of the first. So he missed that field goal earlier, but he says not this time. Able to knock it through, give his guys 3.
I like his poise. I like his confidence, his belief in himself. Sometimes when you miss that first one, you see a lot of guys sag and they can't make the next one. Not in this case. Stepped right up like a pro.
So here are the Eagles now as they get set for their first possession of the second half. They trail offense, first time to touch the ball in quarter 3, and we'll see what they can do.
And I can't wait to see what they have planned, because some teams script to start a half. Other teams just go, okay, these are the sequence of plays we want to run. These things worked well for us. But sometimes they throw in that big chunk play right away.
Shocker.
Try and get after them early and try and create a big play to give themselves some momentum.
See what they have up their sleeve.
And there's a completion to the tight end. And look at the size of these players nowadays. At that spot, 6'4", 6'5", and up. A lot of guys used to be basketball players, somehow came back to football. That's really good for the game of football. You're getting better athleticism, great hand-eye coordination, guys who know how to control their bodies when they run their routes.
So quickly all the way up at the 40-yard line. From the gun, it's Wentz. It's caught by Sanders. And he'll be taken down, but not before he works it past the 50. It's an Eagles first down on a gain of 11.
And this is why trying to cover the angle route is so difficult. Anyone playing the linebacker position, when they see a running back out of the backfield widen, because he heads towards the flat first, oftentimes you widen too much and overcommit. He cuts up inside, and that's what we saw there. A nice pickup for a first down.
Pretty good results here on the first down run as he takes this forward for about 6. It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets him to 2nd and 4. The last run got 6, now 2nd and 4. They go with Howard again. he's dropped right at the 40. Gain of 3.
Brandon, all things considered, they have to feel pretty good about getting that type of a gain, considering the blitz that they just had against them.
This is 3rd and 1. Very likely 4-down territory, even if they don't get it, though. And he's going to get this down near the 30-yard line.
Come on now, let's go.
So 1st and 10 now from the 30. And nearly picked off there. Almost intercepted. Instead, 2nd down. He's lucky to be getting that one back.
After what they've done with him all day long, with all the targets trying to go after him, he's obviously gotten smart, and his pride is kicked in. Made his room to play.
Wentz again here on 2nd and 10. Caught by the tight end Ertz. And down inside the 15, shy of the 10. 19 yards to pick up there. Move the chains.
That's tough to play zone defense when they can just curl up right there in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we talk about finding the soft spot. Defensively, how do you make sure they don't find the soft spot like they did there?
Tough to do, because what they normally will do is run routes that'll pull you out of that spot they want to get into. That's what we call not taking the cheese, right? Don't go for the mousetrap. But it's hard to do, because when you see a guy cutting that in that direction, you tend to go towards him.
On 1st down, Wentz. And this one's incomplete. Nelson Aguilar, the intended receiver. And it's 2nd down. Got out of the pocket. Didn't look like he had anybody open, Charles, so just gets rid of it.
And a good play by him. If no one's open and you don't have a running lane that you want to take, make the right choice. Get rid of it. Live to fight another down.
And there he goes. They bring down Wentz on the sack.
This has been a tough one for this offensive line. It appears almost like they've been on roller skates this entire game, the way they've been pushed around. 6 sacks given up in this one.
And he'll take it into the end zone for an Eagles touchdown. 3 touchdown passes now for Carson Wentz. And the Eagles have taken the lead.
And that 3rd counter there gives them the lead, and it's obvious they've needed everything that he's given them today. The 3 touchdowns, that's impressive.
Definitely.
But without
that was a touchdown right there, boy. That was a touchdown right there, boy.
Elliott now to add the extra point. It's up and good to make it 21-17. So that one a pretty time-consuming 10-play drive. The result, Philadelphia in the end zone. Now after the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. This is taken about 7 yards deep. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. So now here are the Rams as their offense comes back out. And last time able to get 3. It's not what they wanted. They wanted 6, but they got at least something. They mustered something out of the drive.
They'll take it. I like the way you've described it. Not ideal, but they'll take it. Anything to put some points on the board. But this time on offense, they don't want to see the field goal kicker trot on the field. They want that ball in the end zone.
Yeah, they'll be going for 6. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. A good pickup, 17 yards, and also a Rams first down. One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. On the jet sweep, they get this to Cooks. And he'll take this one up close to about the 45. The corner, Ronald Darby, comes up to get it. Now on 2nd down, this is Gurley. And he'll be taken down just shy of midfield after a gain of about 4.
Well, if the coaching staff did a good job upstairs, they'll away with it. Just slow down, stop the starting play. I'd say keep that in mind. They want to try that again, get play action, hit them over the top.
Well, This is going to depend on the spot, but it's not a very generous one. He looks to be about a yard or so short.
So many things go into making a good play on defense. In this situation, just not being blown out of the way was a big start, and then a nice tackle to finish things off.
Here's Johnny Hekker now as he's on to punt for L.A. And this will be out of bounds, and they spot it at the 15-yard line. Not too bad. All right, time for us now to discuss Alshon Jeffrey.
This defense, they wouldn't mind not seeing him again for a while. 3 trips to the end zone. How about that?
I think right now they would halfway go to their general manager and say, is there any way you could go trade for him, take him over to our team so we don't have to cover him anymore? Because he is really having a heck of a ball game, isn't he?
Boy, he is. I don't know that a mid-game trade's going to happen, but good thought.
Despite the blitz, they're still able to pick up a nice, solid gain. The disadvantage of blitzing often alters the normal spacing and run fits and leaves creases like they were able to exploit right there.
So they'll come up after the gain of 7 on a 2nd and 3.
They're trying to show that they can run the ball and protect this lead. Give it to the backs, play a little bit of keep away, don't you think?
And that's probably a good philosophy at this point, going to make that defense stand up and stop them. A good run by Jordan Howard, and now another 1st and 10. Now a handoff here to his running back. And running room scarce here. He's going to be stopped in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. Tackle there by Clay Matthews.
As usual, the hallmark of a good run defense, linebackers making plays near the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nowhere to run there.
Officially nothing on that last run. They'll try again, 2nd and 10. Now they'll throw it. Wentz. And he'll hit Jeffrey complete. And they bring him to the ground just shy of midfield. It's a gain of 13 and a 1st down for Philadelphia.
I think it all came together there. In-breaking route, drove it with excellent pace. Money throw right there to move the sticks.
Okay, I need you to step the hell up. But you don't want to do that because, frankly, Trump spends more time.
Wentz now perfect since the 2nd half started. 7 of 7. It's 1st and 10. Running with Howard. And he's going to take this one across midfield and into Ram territory. Corey Littleton there on the tackle.
Well, he was looking for some running room, and there wasn't a whole lot of it there on that play. I think he was lucky to get a couple of yards out of it. So those defenders, they were rallying to the football pretty quickly.
The last run got a couple. Here's 2nd and 8. Now Wentz. Nowhere to escape, and he goes down. Clay Matthews brings the heat and gets the sack.
This offensive line flat out cannot handle this pass rush. We've seen it demonstrated time and time again to the tune of 7 sacks in this game thus far.
From the gun on third down, Wentz arcs over the middle. And they will get this across midfield, but still well short of the first as he's dropped at the 46.
It is hard in zone coverage to stop a curl route because when they see it, they just try and find the open spot and sit down.
Yeah, we always talk about finding the soft spot in the zone. What's the key to doing that? How do you do it?
You have to read what the coverage is. Is it 2 deep? Is it 3 deep? Because then you know where the linebackers are going to drop, what spots on the field they naturally get to, and you find that open space, and then you're in sync with your quarterback. He should be reading the exact same thing, and they put the ball right on you.
The L.A. offense ready to go for their next drive. And a tight game after punting last time. See if they can get something going on this drive.
As they head to the field now, with the game this close, you've got to feel there's a sense of urgency for them going on offense right now. But they have to do it without letting panic creep in and affect their play.
Back now in Los Angeles. It's the Rams trailing, but they do have the football as we start the fourth and final quarter. Throwing on 2nd and 3. Goff. And that's complete to Cooks. A gain there of 12 yards and a first down L.A. And passing yardage-wise, now up over 350 in this game. Pretty nice performance.
Definitely that, which usually means you're putting a lot of pressure on guys trying to cover. If you're a defensive back and they put over 350 yards on you, you've had a long day. The key to everything, if you're doing it without throwing interceptions or turning the ball over.
That first down completion only netted him 3. 2nd and 7. They try to throw on 2nd down, but this one is incomplete. He was looking for Todd Gurley, but now it'll be 3rd down. They head to the line facing a 3rd and 7 following the incompletion on 2nd down. Now Goff. He gets it to Gurley, complete. It goes as a gain of 9, and it moves the chains.
We always talk about having to read defenses and how complicated that is. Well, this was an excellent read. Read the pressure and got rid of the football before it even got to him for a nice game.
And when they're blitzing like that, running back usually a good spot to go with a football.
Without a doubt, because he's right in your sight line or he's near you. So you're able to just get it to him easily. And once he gets in space, that's usually a good matchup for him.
On 1st and 10, Goff. And they'll set up the screen to Gurley. And he gets it down to the 32. Well, first down screen pass, good for 5. 2nd and 5 after the 5-yard completion on first down. To the air again, Goff. That's complete to his tight end, Higbee. That throw good for only a couple. It brings up 3rd down. Trying to keep the drive going here. This is play number 7 on 3rd and 2. They'll try and pick up the first with Gurley. I don't think Gurley got there. Looks like the defense held him back. No gain on the play there, and it'll bring up 4th down.
Perfectly designed blitz right there. They took that one from the grease board to the field because they were able to free up their linebacker, get into the backfield, and spill the play.
That bitch ain't going to take the field goal. Well, let's do it, bitch. Let's do it, bitch.
Here on 4th down. They go ahead and snap it. Goff. Man open, it's Kupp. He's got it. And he's able to get the first here as he's taken down at the 25. A solid 45 and a very solid 4th down conversion. And defensively, pure frustration. On first down, it's gone.
Oh, you motherfucker.
In this country,
That was it, bro.
it's not used as political props.
Give it up, bitch.
Mr.
Ooh. Boom. Now what? He's supposed to catch that. Ah, this nigga couldn't catch it. This nigga, hold up. Who was that, bro? Who was that, bro? Who was that, bro? Who was that, bro?
That's this individual right here. The actions that he is taking is something that we have not seen ever before.
Maddox. Maddox, he was supposed to catch that, bro.
Couldn't even find his outlet man because of the coverage. It's way too tight. Unable to find anyone open.
An incomplete pass leads to 2nd and 10 from the 25. Goff now looking to throw. Looking middle, and it's incomplete. Robert Woods, the intended receiver that time. 3rd down here. Big play coming up. Here's 3rd and 10.
I would expect to see some pressure here.
The pressure drops off as they'll look to throw. Now they go screen. It's complete. And he's going to lose yards. They'll take him down at the 26. That'll make it 4th down after a loss of 1. Well, you can see what they wanted to do. They wanted to set up the screen there, but it got blown up.
It's hard to run that play if you're not getting a lot of pressure at the quarterback because the space doesn't open up. They were able to read that one and slow it down and stop it before they could get a 1st down.
Cox, let's look at that again, my G. I read that fucking screen. Watch this. I say, oh, and I saw them bitches pulling. I said, oh, I'm pulling with y'all bitches. I'm pulling with y'all bitches. You saw that? Look, right there.
Military for his purposes.
Well, first of all, thank you very much. It is, it's appalling, and to be very candid, I don't think that the folks who have the uniform zone, or the ring uniform, they really should not be speaking.
So on 4th down, out trots the kicker in a big spot here. On the right hash, it's a 43-yard attempt. Zuerlein's kick is up and through. And that'll bring him back within a point. So with that field goal, this one's now back within a field goal. Maybe not the ultimate result they wanted, but gets them that much closer.
This game is unfolding like a really good book, isn't it? Because I feel like there's a few more plot twists yet to be revealed before this one is over.
This is taken at his 4. And he'll take this across the 25, a couple extra yards up to the 27-yard line. Alshon Jeffrey working his way back out there now to help lead this offense. So far, he has the trio of touchdowns. Obviously, it's been a pretty good game for him.
So if this were hockey, they'd be throwing their hats out on the ice for the hat trick, right? I'm not sure exactly what you do in the NFL except applaud and continue to hope you see a little bit more of this. What a tremendous game.
You want to start a new tradition? What can we throw on the field?
I don't know.
Throw your mic out there.
A lot of fans would like that. Cut his mic off.
3 touchdowns so far.
I know we love our jobs, and pretty much any play we see, we're pretty, excited about. But big plays, let's face it, that's what we absolutely live for. How about that one?
That was great. And what our camera missed was the fist pump from the sideline after that catch. They're fired out. That's a big game. So the big play changes the complexion of things. Here's 1st and 10 just outside the 30. Now this one over the middle into the hands of his tight end, complete. Tell you what, he's been able to put the ball in some tight spots all game long. That throw, no different.
Yeah, a lot of people would call it a gutsy type of a throw. I think he looks at it as, I can do it, so it's not that big of a deal to me, and I'm going to keep firing.
Second and 5 after the 5-yard completion on 1st down. They'll try and run some clock here as they keep it on the ground. And down inside the 15 he goes. It's a gain of 16 and an Eagle 1st down. Well, that looked like an example of what you said back in the first half. A running back of his size can really wear down a defense. I think he's starting to do that.
I think you're exactly right. And know what else he's doing? He's inspiring the rest of his team because they see this starting to happen as well. So that means they're going to redouble their efforts to help him out. Extra blocking, getting downfield, helping him out.
They go right back to Howard. And This time the yards won't come so easy as they'll, in fact, tackle him behind the line. This will be a 2-yard loss on the play, and it'll be 2nd and 12. Well, he had 2 sacks earlier. Now he has 4 total tackles for a loss after that play.
Well, they obviously have to do a better job trying to block him. But short of that, you know what the quarterback has to do? Make sure he doesn't hand it to him when he's back there thinking he's one of his own guys. His quickness, his suddenness, his speed getting into the offense's backfield has been something else in this game.
That was 2nd down throw for the end zone, but it's incomplete. And once more, he was looking for Alshon Jeffrey, and it's 3rd down. Now Wentz on 3rd down.
I think he's taking an awful chance with the football right there. You've got to lead, you've got to protect it, and he's taking chances putting it out there in a little bit of jeopardy.
Especially in a spot like this, 4th quarter, as you said, trying to cling to that advantage.
Yeah, that one probably should have been picked, Tom. So much about offense is what you call hidden yardage. You know, you throw the ball to someone, they catch it, and then they can make a big play. You know, they create a play, run after catch. They did a really nice job here of limiting that and keeping him from a 1st down.
Yeah, stopped him in his tracks. The offense staying out. They're going to go on 4th and 2. And he is into the end zone. Touchdown, Philadelphia. Carson Wentz with touchdown pass number 4 on the afternoon. And the Eagles able to push further out in front. There was no going through the progressions on that touchdown pass.
Yeah, nor was it necessary. His receiver won that route early, presented himself. No reason to wait. Go ahead and put it on him and score a touchdown.
Elliott on for the extra point. And with that, the Eagles up to 8. So this drive spans 7 plays, and it was capped off by an Eagles touchdown. After the touchdown, here's Elliott on to kick it away. That's fielded in the end zone. And no run back here. This will be a touchback, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Here's a Los Angeles offense as they get set to take possession. And after the field goal last time, we'll see what they can get here. At least they got points out of the last drive, Charles.
I never met an offensive coach that didn't want to drive to end with a kick. Most of them wanted to end with a PAT, right? In this case, a field goal, they'll take it. Way better than the alternative, which is a punt.
Yeah, but you met fan bases that wanted that weren't happy with that field goal.
I haven't met a fan base yet that wants to drive to end with a kick, other than the extra point. That's it.
Now a deep ball there on 2nd down, but it'll wind up incomplete. Trying to get it to Woods, and that takes us from 2nd to 3rd down. So after the 2nd down incompletion, they'll come up now against a 3rd and 6. Here's Gall. And he'll find his target. Woods, it's complete. And a good job defensively. They stop him short of the 1st at the 32. They get only 4 that time as that leads us to a 4th down.
One of the money routes for any offense, the drag route. So tough to defend because the receiver can stop at any point and make himself available to the quarterback and get a completion. But I love the communication we saw there. All the defenders pointing out the receiver, where he was going, and then they're able to rally to the ball after the catch and stop him short of the 1st down.
And did he put that on a dime? He did. Wow. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
We're certainly not going to see a better punt than that. Definitely taking a chance because if that thing clips the pylon, it comes out to the 20, but instead, it goes out of bounds at the 1-yard line.
All right, time for us now to discuss Alshon Jeffrey. What a game for him, Charles. 4 touchdowns. Heck, for a lot of guys, that's a good season number.
You're exactly right. And let's face it, we have to stand up and applaud this one, even though we're supposed to be neutral. Because this doesn't just happen by accident. This isn't 4 times where the defense just falls down or breaks coverage. He's worked awfully hard, changing routes, changing areas, changing angles, and getting open for touchdowns.
We knew he'd be part of the game plan in a big way, and it has been in a very big way. Now they have a little more space to maneuver from the 15, 1st and 10. Now Howard. He'll get a nice chunk there on the 1st down run, and it's 2nd and 4.
Oh, that's one to warm the hearts of all those old school football players, isn't it? Tough, hard, gritty run, got behind his pads, bowled over a few people. Look at that one, right up the gut.
So up through 3 quarters, no reason to lighten up now. Six yards on that last play. Here's 2nd and 4. They run with Howard. And he's going to have to protect the football and take his lumps here at this stage of the game as they stop him behind the line. That'll be a loss of a yard, and it leads to a 3rd down.
Now, obviously, that's some good work there defensively, being able to stop them and bring up a key 3rd down. But if you're on the offensive side of the ball, there's an opportunity, because I know what defensive guys are thinking right now. Just stop them, get to the ball. That means they might not be sound defensively. There could be some opportunities.
And you said key 3rd down. Highlight that word, put it in bold. Here we go. Third and 4. This crowd urging up their defense. They're making noise. Working from the gun. And he connects once. And he's brought down, getting this one up to about the 35. Philadelphia picking up the 1st on a gain of 15. He's been the go-to guy. They needed a big play there on 3rd down. Went his way. It worked out.
Doesn't matter whether they've scouted it or that they think he's going to get the ball. He has a knack for finding his way open and completing the connection.
Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10.
Another nice pickup through the air, and I think a lot of people might expect him to run the ball in this situation, Brandon, but with this lead, they're electing to throw the football. Swings, slants, quick outs, things that they consider safe.
So from Rams territory now, it's 1st and 10 at the 47. A give to Howard. And I think this defense knew what was coming as he is smothered behind the line. And that's going to go as a loss of 6, and it will set him back for 2nd down. 4th quarter, down to the final 2 minutes, and we've got a 1-score game. So it's Eagle football here as we get you reset. And let's see what they've come up with offensively after having time to talk it over. And he can't get a throw off. He's taken down. What a huge play at this point in the game. Eagles coming up here on a 3rd and long, so Wentz and company with some work to do after the sack. Back to throw. Wentz. And that is incomplete. Aqib Talib, the veteran Pro Bowler, there to get a hand in, knock it away.
There are a good number of coaches at any time they call an in route are really worried about the play because there's so much traffic ordinarily that the ball has to get through to get to the receiver. And on that play, it was batted down.
And now a high kick here as they'll try to cover this one. Fair catch called for and made right at the 25-yard line. It's just a 32-yard punt with no return. And out will come the offense as they take over. And we move to spotlighting Brandon Cooks. And the stats on his game, they really tell the story. A strong start. I don't know that the defense has really changed a whole lot as opposed to maybe just sticking to that game plan and shutting it down there.
I like where you're going
Maddox.
with that.
Great D. Let me see that again, Maddox. Great fucking D. Ooh, look how that nigga broke on that bit. What is in it? Ooh, that nigga broke on that bitch right there. Ooh, give me over that tongue. Ooh, he breaking. He breaking. He breaking.
The gauntlet's been thrown down by the money that backs these representatives. You know, you got Musk who said basically, and even though he's split is now made up.
Because normally we talk about adjustments and drastic changes in a game plan in order to shut someone down. But in this case, maybe they're just sticking with what they worked on all week, and they're just making better plays. And so far, they've got a left.
And he can't get a throw away. He's taken down. Now the Rams will signal for a timeout, their second, as they'll talk it over here before what'll be an important third down. Goff now to throw. And able to find Higbee. It's complete. And they're going to get this beyond the 40 before he's taken down.
Gotta go.
They'll look to throw. A good pickup there, 26 yards. He's tackled a yard short of the mark.
Timeout.
Good gain of 9
Running out of time. He's running out of time.
Trying to line up quickly here. Goff urging them on. And he's got the hook up here. It's Woods.
Timeout. Timeout.
First down now, but the clock continues to move. He's back to throw. Open man is Higbee, the tight end.
Timeout.
And he goes down, but not before getting this inside the 25.
That was his last one.
The Rams going to be
Gotta
forced to
score
use
right
their
here.
third and final
Last play.
As
Last play.
Just 19 seconds left on
Last
the clock.
play. Last play. Last play right here. You got to score right here.
Now it's gone. And Woods has it complete. And
we're out of time, baby.
Before they get it inside the 10 to the 7. He'll look to throw.
No good.
So no miracles here on the final play. And this ball game is over. Well, no doubt an electrifying finish to have it down inside the 10-yard line. That final shot.
That was a game.
Couldn't get it in the end zone, and that's all she wrote.
And they had the final shot. The last snap taken that close to the end zone. They don't get it in, so they'll regret that. But flip it over, making a stand in that portion of the field. Congratulations to them.
So that'll do it for us. For Charles Davis and all our crew, I'm Brandon Gaudin. You've been watching the NFL on EA Sports. From Los Angeles, so long, everybody.
That's his DNA. You were going to say something. Sorry. What you heard was you heard him articulating what every officer and for sure every person who's a senior leader has in their core, which is that commitment to this nation and to protect those soldiers, sailors, and Marine Corps in space. when they are given and used the word privilege to command. And I said something earlier. If you understand it's a privilege to lead and command America's sons and daughters, you treat them as precious as you can, as you make them hard and do those tough things that very few people are willing to do. And so, if you're going to take care, you want to put them in that kind of environment, you're going to also make sure that one, that they are treasured by America's citizens. And you're not going to have them looking at American citizens as less than or something other than what they are. It's those people, the idea, the concepts of this nation, those words that are crafted so beautifully in the Constitution of the Declaration of Independence. That's what you're fighting for. That's what we fight for. And when somebody, any one person, steps up to think that they're it, and you do model hymns, that's when we break. That's when we break into the break point. There was a clear vision to protect us from having this kind of breakdown in structure. Because that's what we're fighting for. That's what we're fighting to protect. And so we're going to treat those soldiers, sailors, and Marine Coast Guardsmen and spacemen, so that one, they understand that they are not a political tool against each other.
Man, we are big time.
Against another party, they are a political weapon for American policy externally.
Order my panel. Grant Carr. Grant Carr, your question.
Thank you, bro. It's clear at this point that this man has been having basically political rallies at military events, military installations. My question, the two-part question, very quickly. One, what do you expect this Saturday in terms of what's going on here? I was just left the Smithsonian seeing everything lining up down there. We know it's not going to be a celebration of the Army, but a celebration of Donald Trump, which of course flies in the face of exactly what your Riley was talking about. What are you expecting Saturday to come out of this man's mouth with the entire United States Army as a backdrop staging for his branding exercise? And then could you say a word about the duty of active military to refuse to carry out unlawful orders? Because that's clearly what we're mentioning.
First of all, I know one president has to actively refuse an order that's illegal or immoral. They have that requirement to do this is illegal or immoral. And so I hope that doesn't come to fruition. The second thing is I won't try to give you my vision because it's always dangerous to project what will happen or what. I can tell you a little bit about what I get. By the way, June 14th is also my birthday. It's also Flag Day, and it is also the Army's birthday. It was, in my mind, the least of days to celebrate because it is one parochial to Army. If you want to do the flag, and the argument that was made was that we never celebrate our wars. We never celebrate winning war because the results of war are never final. And no one has seen the end of war except the dead. Soldiers understand that. So we celebrate. When you see us walking down the street, we celebrate the fact that we're home, that we achieved a mission. That's what we did in previous times. We weren't celebrating that we won because no single nation wins these major wars. So this idea that somehow this is the point that you're asking, I guess, that this is somehow celebration of the military, it's a farce. It's a farce. It is a celebration to occur on a birthday. And I expect at some point in time there will be a birthday celebration that will be part of this. And that's the thing. I even wrote about that a while back. He was going to try to do this. This is predictive because it goes to the word of one of the essential values. The Army believes in order to do respect, self-service, honor, integrity, and personal courage.
their rating versus how much the sentiment is pro-Trump to the point of what you pointed out, their duty to refuse an unlawful or an immoral order. How much do you think we should be concerned? I'm very, very concerned.
At this point, I would not be concerned yet. In fact, I was encouraged when I saw the commander of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs fire out a letter that talked about the depoliticization of our military. And he cautioned that there's a decorum for the reception of how we treat and listen to the president also, the commander-in-chief, when he's talking to the troops. So at this point, I am less concerned. But you have to understand what he did was, there's very little that he's for. It's the things he's against. And what you are against allows you to create the kind of anger, because that's a much easier emotion to address. What you're against versus what you're for. And unfortunately, he knows how to use those tools. This will be a parade. It will come across this time as pretty innocuous, not so much other than a parade. To most Americans, that's what they think they will see. But the challenge is what third world leaders do. You put your forces out in the hot sun so they can run out and shoot the weapons and things like that. When bases do this, they do it with local communities because they want the community to know what's in their backyard, and they always make it family friendly. And it's designed so that there's an intimacy between the community and their bases. This is not one that this nation needs for its community or its citizens at large. We don't need it. And we're right doing it. Most of it.
Zamora.
Hi. Thank you so much for your service. We know that Black and Brown service members are being deployed into our Black and Brown communities. So, with them going in these communities against their own moral compass or political, how do we ensure that military doesn't bring our troops to some kind of American Gestapo? And how do we protect their rights to participation in missions that violate both their and the communities that they're coming from?
I got about 90 seconds, go.
Real quick. You ought to have a little bit of comfort in the fact that if you do see those faces, there's a consciousness behind them. There's a consciousness behind them. And, it's like they wake up in the morning, they know what they're doing. And that will be part of the saving grace that you'll see Americans, fully weather Americans in those formations. And you ought to hope that you see some black and brown faces in those formations. And by the way, I encourage cameras to be out all the time. And I would also encourage you to, one, do what King did. Don't give anybody a reason to do something that will become escalatory. If I were a community leader, I would make sure that there's leadership at all places that do exactly what Jesse and what Andrew Young did to Martin Luther King Jr. We have a mission. We're protesting, protecting each other. Don't give them a reason to go ahead and declare and show pictures of us as the oppressor and as the culprit. That's what I would tell you.
All right, then. Maria, I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch for sharing your insight with our audience.
I appreciate you. And again, I appreciate your fire. I appreciate you seeing some of the things that most of us don't ignore and can't say for a lot of reasons. Because you need that fire. It's the same caution that we always had.
innovations, advancements that will redefine how our community engages and connects. We're not just evolving, we're setting the stage for something great. Let's dive into the exciting developments coming to FanBase in 2025 and explore how they'll continue to shape the future of the social economy. Let's talk about microblogging. Microblogging has become one of the most dynamic and impactful ways to communicate today. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, Red, and Blue Sky have shown us the power of short, immediate bursts of information to shape conversations, influence culture, and change the world. What truly sets microblogging apart, what gives it its unique magic, is citizen journalism. The ability for everyday people to share real-time updates, break stories, and provide perspectives that mainstream media often overlooks. For years, Black Twitter has been the cultural heartbeat of these platforms, creating trends, driving discussions, and amplifying voices. But here's the thing, it has never had an official home, a space where the creativity, humor, and power of the community truly belong. Instead, its creativity, humor, and culture influence have been exploited to drive engagement, rarely gets anything back in return. And it's not just Black Twitter. People everywhere who want to engage in microblogging deserve a platform that values freedom of speech, inclusivity, and the ability to connect authentically. That's why in 2025, we're building something different. Something that's easy, fun, and focused on delivering real-time messages without barriers. A platform where the community comes first, where conversations happen naturally, and where everyone has a voice. And we call it FanBase Spark. Conversations, breaking news, and cultural moments to quick updates and community discussions. Spark is where the pulse of the world lives. It's fast, fresh, and it's focused on delivering the information you need right where you need it. The Spark isn't just about staying informed, it's about giving everyone a voice. Whether you're weighing in on a global event, sharing your unique perspective, or making your audience laugh with a perfectly timed post, Spark empowers you to engage in meaningful ways. It's a space for citizen journalism, cultural commentary, and real-time connection, filled with creators and communities at its core. Even though Spark integrates seamlessly into FanBase's design, the dedicated Spark feed and trending section ensure that it feels distinct, giving users a place to explore the world's biggest moments while staying grounded in the inclusive, creator-first environment of FanBase. With Spark, we're giving microblogging a new home, a place where real-time information is the freedom to express yourself authentically. This isn't just another feature, it's a transformative addition to the FanBase ecosystem. Look out for FanBase Spark in 2025. Now, let's talk about streaming. In 2025, we're also introducing streaming to FanBase Plus, giving gamers and streamers the ultimate space to create, connect, and thrive. This move is inspired by the emergence and success of streamers like Kai Cenat, who built massive subscriber bases by doing what they love, creating compelling, entertaining content. Streaming and gaming will often overlook this creative outlet. Their presence as a dominant force in the creator economy is undeniable. In 2025, we're betting big on the power of live interaction, gaming, and the ability for creators to monetize their streams in real time. This is the future of gaming, streaming, and creativity, and we can't wait to share with you. In addition addition to these exciting new features and functionalities for Fanbase in 2025, we're also delivering on what our community has been asking. You've spoken and we've listened. Features like dark mode, carousels, and AI integration for creators are on the way, designed to make Fanbase not just a platform, but a tool that empowers you to thrive. Imagine having an AI assistant that doesn't just respond to your questions, but actively helps you strategize and discover new ways to increase your revenue on Fanbase. Whether it's optimizing your content schedule, analyzing audience trends, or suggesting untapped opportunities for monetization, this AI functionality puts the power of insight directly in your hands. These updates aren't just about adding features. They're about enhancing your experience, amplifying your creativity, and helping you maximize the value of your content. Fanbase in 2025 isn't just keeping up with trends, we're shaping them. And we're doing it hand in hand with the creators who make this platform what it is. What's up, y'all? Well, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering unique opportunities for everyday people to invest in platform tech infrastructure that helps you with social media. Investing in technology is essential in creating long-term growth and influence for individuals. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it. Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act. Now, after everything you've seen tonight, let's talk about the most important part of this journey: investing in Fanbase and owning the future of the social economy. This is your chance to be more than just a user. This is your chance and opportunity to be an owner. Our momentum-gaining equity crowdfunding starting gives anyone the ability to invest in Fanbase. For the minimum of $399, you can own 60 shares of stock in Fanbase at $6.65 a share. That's it. No middlemen, no barriers, just you and a chance to own a piece of the platform pioneering the social economy. Historically, platforms like Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter were funded by venture capitalists and wealthy insiders. Fanbase is changing that. We're making ownership accessible to everyone, ensuring that our success is shared by the very people who drive this platform forward. Now, let's walk you through how you can invest in Fanbase step by step. It's a simple process, but every detail matters to ensure your investment goes smoothly. When you go to startengine.com, you'll first create an account. This account is crucial because it serves as the custodian of your shares, the wallet where your Fanbase stock is held. Once your account is set up, the next step is to make your investment. To invest, your funds will go into escrow. That means we don't have the money and you don't have it. It's held securely while the necessary compliance steps are completed. During this time, there's a money laundering background check conducted on all investors. Don't worry, this is standard, and it usually takes no more than a couple of days. The next step is the most important. Once your background check is complete, you'll receive a confirmation email. Must confirm your investment by responding to that email. This step finalizes your commitment to owning a piece of Fanbase. After you confirm, your funds move into a disbursement queue, which allows us to draw these funds. Once the funds are deposited into our account, you officially become a Fanbase investor. The entire process typically takes about a week from start to finish. So let's recap. 1. Create your Start Engine account. 2. Invest in Fanbase. 3. Wait for the compliance check. And 4. Confirm your investment via email. By investing in Fanbase, you're not just buying shares, you're becoming a part of the story we're writing together. You're joining a movement that's redefining what it means to truly own a piece of the platforms we help build. Your investment is a statement. We believe in the future where creators and communities strive together, where innovation is driven by inclusion, where ownership is shared by the people, making all possible.
Bravery is not the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome it. We stand for those who defy suppression, who speak out, and those who walk the road less traveled. Everyone deserves to be seen and their voices to be heard. We're sparking a movement, growing a community of creators united by the desire for freedom, choice, equity, and ownership. At Fanbase, it's all for one and one for all. We support each other to guide, promote, and uplift you in a place where you can unapologetically be yourself. A place where your voice, ideas, and creativity are not just welcome, but celebrated. We are Black-founded, minority-funded, and supported by a diverse, inclusive, powerful community that believes in the strength of authenticity and individual choice. Regardless of success or background, we welcome you. The marginalized, the underappreciated, the successful, the superstar. We're for all who seek a space to express themselves freely, where they are rewarded for being their authentic, true self. We transcend labels because only we have the right to define ourselves. We are built for the brave, the culture, the creators, and for the future where everyone has the power to shape their own destiny. Where all are empowered, voices are amplified, and freedom is embraced. For the first time, you have a chance to own the platform you help make power. It's a revolution. A movement in how we connect, create, and share. Everyone's a creator, and everyone has a fan base. Here, you can be you without limits.
So the protests that are going to be happening this week, all across the country, so 2,000 are planned. Well, Lena Hidalgo, who's the Harris County judge, Latina, said, I don't need your troops. We can handle protests. Remember what Governor Greg Abbott did when there were protests on the campus of the University of Texas? He sent Texas Department of Safety state troops. Remember they were pushing and shoving in riot gear. So what they want to do is they absolutely want to intimidate protesters. But here's why the protests are working. Governor Gavin Newsom talked about this, where they were raiding all of those fields in California, chasing folks out. He arrested this one man and one woman, stranding their child. Child has no other family in the country. Put a Trump today in Oval Office. Pull back on the raiding of the fields. You know why? Ain't no work. There's no big crowds. So Newsom did a video. He said, keep the protest up. This work you can do it peacefully. And that's the deal. The way you combat these thugs is you have to unleash massive protests nationwide. If you start blocking and shutting down Wall Street, highways, and all sorts of different things, these people have to see a full force. And I absolutely hope that these Latinos, y'all just got y'all wake-up call. All y'all trying-ass Cubans who voted for Trump, now y'all shedding all these tears. This is not what we voted for. Yes, it is. All of Venezuelans in Florida, back Trump, y'all were making songs and singing. This is their wake-up call. Let's see if they go home.
You know, I said it before on this show. If they ain't take the party gets one. And here we go. If it ain't on us, I ain't gonna wreck a car after that down and get dragged by Donald Trump. So the reality is this: they have to step up. They have considerable political power. To be fair, a majority of Latinos did vote for Kamala Harris. They did not vote for this. I know that everybody is trying to flip the numbers now and say say, well, this is what you wanted. There are certain demographics within the Latino community, particularly Cubans, who are supporting Trump. But most Black, especially in Los Angeles, California, where everybody supposed to come together, so they do not vote. But the reality is we are seeing that when they get activated, that they can change narrative and change conversation. I'm a counselor. I grew up a counselor. I saw my name organized many a times in California when that community was under assault. And so I want everybody to fight because it is going to take this cannot wait until 2026 when the next election happens. This is always going to be resolved through some sort of civil disobedience or some sort of mass movement. And I applaud everybody who's out there who is putting themselves on the line, who is helping organize, whether it's behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, because we have to send the message that we are not going to go down without a fight. And if we can do that peacefully, even better, because the reality is the wrong people got the most guns in this country. Okay, because last I checked, we ain't got some Black militias, Latino militias and shit, all that on the Republican back crazy ass side. And so, yeah, let's as long as we can try to put the feeling up through nonviolent protest.
Greg, matter of fact, give me 1 second. So I want to show y'all this here. We actually had this system show. So when I spoke today at the 32nd annual Juneteenth celebration, the sister came up to me and she said, hey, you know, Professor, she wanted me to give you this book. This is perfect. Let me show y'all this here. Hold on. Her name is Gloria Brown Marshall, which is a new book out. We're going to be doing an interview with her. Trust me, y'all, none of this was planned. We'll be doing an interview with her. So, a young lady came up to me today and handed me this book. And it's a perfect time. The book is called A Protest History of the United States. And she lays out, it says here, protest is primal and multifaceted. In A Protest History of the United States, Gloria J. Brown Marshall shines a bright light on this nation's past and present, revealing protest's crucial role. And that's a reason, Greg, it was called the First Amendment. That's a reason, the right to assembly, the freedom of expression. There is a reason it is in the First Amendment. And these right-wingers, they adore the second. They can't stand the first. Except when they want to protest or they want to lead the insurrection on January 6th. Absolutely. Did she sign it, bro? No. So Gloria wasn't there. So she gave it to a young lady. She came up to me after my speech. She said, hey, she wanted me to have this. She's been in the show before. And I was like, all right, cool. So she handed me the book. It's like literally off the presses. The book it went on sale April 22nd, and so it says this comprehensive history traverses over 4 centuries of American descent, weaving together legal analysis, historical documentation, personal memoir, and interviews with those who have taken a stand. And I just think that, look, where we are right now is so simple. This is how we fight back against these fascists and these thugs of Donald Trump, Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, and others.
Absolutely. And the reason I asked you is because I was hoping maybe I would get a chance to see my colleague Gloria Brown Marshall last night. She's a John Jay professor of constitutional law and Africana studies at John Jay College. And I would have, if I had thought about it in advance, I would have stuck my copy of the book in my bag. You already got that book. So now that means you can keep that when it won't come. I know you already. But anyway, yeah, it's not Jay Elliott pulling chapter when she writes with the slaves for July, dealing with Freddie Douglass. First of all, we've been here before, as we know, and not exactly this way. But if Fred Douglass and Ida Wells and Harriet Tubman and Ryan Stewart and David Walker could face down the situations they face down, certainly we can do all that's here. But you raised the Rosen, I think, again, spot on as always here in this space. That we have to fight. While we've been on the air, Stephen Breyer's younger brother, Charles Breyer, has been in district court in San Francisco giving holy hell to the government's lawyers around this question of whether or not Trump can deploy a federalized state over the National Guard. They haven't even gotten to the issue of whether you can send active duty military in. And you heard the general talk about posse comitatus. You can't do it. It's not going to last. But when Judge Breyer, as we've been on the air, said during the arguments, you know, tracking it's coming through, and I know you're tracking it as well, he said that's not what we live. We live in response to a monarch. This country was founded in response to the monarch. He said the Constitution is a document of limitations. They're going to bump up against a full confrontation with the Constitution. And of course, we heard Jim Miley say the military take over to defend the Constitution of the United States, not a person, not even the country. And it comes down to this very serious confrontation that's going to test whether or not there will be a country that continues. When we saw Tim Walz from Minnesota, when we saw J.B. Pritzker from Illinois, when we saw Kathy Hochul from New York, when we hear Gavin Newsom from California, what is going to be tested is the concept of federalism. When Gavin Newsom says maybe we should just stop paying taxes, and at that point, the elderly horde in Missouri, where they now decided to send their troops out, the elderly horde in Mississippi and Alabama, they're going to be in trouble. Why? Because y'all are all welfare recipients in those states from the people like New York, like Illinois, like Minnesota, certainly California, one of the largest economies in the world to get out of the United States. And Canada is saying, allow California, come on with us, come to that road. We might be looking at the heating up of what has been a cold civil war since the end of the high one in the 1860s. But guess what? It was going to come down to this anyway. Just no more King's protest. All these, it's only going to get larger. You know what beats back fascism? The people. The most powerful element in the history of humanity is humanity. So I don't care whether you're ADOS and saying that these people don't have anything to do with us. I don't care if you're the would-be radicals who want to say that if you're not ideologically aligned with me 110%, I'm not going to organize with you. It's time to put aside all those things and understand we are facing a real fascist threat that we can overcome. And the good sister Gloria Brown Marshall gives us a map of how every time fascism has raised its ugly face, the people have risen up to oppose it. And it's the only reason we can have the conversation we're having today.
It is indeed the only reason. And what we have to understand is that we can never ever forget our history. 62 years ago on this day, Medgar Evers, leader of NAACP Mississippi, assassinated in his driveway. His wife, Burley Evers, having to witness him dying in her arms. His children having to witness that. And here we are, 62 years later, having to witness these Trump idiots try to strip his name from a named vessel. Pete Hegseth had announced they were removing the names of there were 8 vessels named after actors. Among them, Cesar Chavez, Harvey Milk, Peter Ginsburg, Harriet Tubman. And Hegseth wants to rebrand these against Booker's and diversity. Now, let's be real clear. Let's be real clear. This is the same man who served in the army, Medgar Evers. Well, this is the second time they've done that. Now, remember, they removed his name from the website of the Arlington National Cemetery, which featured a section on African Americans and Barton. Now, they had to restore that because they got
they're angry about. They don't want the story of these freedom fighters to be told. Even the little games they're playing with restoring the Confederate names of the military bases Donald Trump's after. But what they're doing is they are finding the same names of other people. So, for instance, Fort Robert E. Lee, they went and found a black private whose last name is Lee because they are hell-bent on it still being called Fort Lee. So they're looking around for same names. They're calling through military records trying to do that.
Hello, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. The window to invest in Fanbase is closing. We raised over $10.6 million of our $17 billion goal. That means we are going for less than 6,370 people to invest in Fanbase for the average amount. The minimum to invest in Fanbase right now is $399. That makes you an owner in Fanbase today. Go to startengine.com/fanbase to invest. Why? Because current social apps have taken advantage of users for far too long, with content suppression, shadow banning, harmful racist content, and no real tools for monetization and equity. Fanbase has over 1.4 million users and counting, allowing anyone to reach all their following and monetize their content from day one. Social media is the new TV, and whoever owns the apps that distribute that content have the opportunity to own potential billion-dollar companies. While big platforms with certain features are failing to serve their users, Fanbase is stepping up to fill the gap. Don't wait until it's too late. Invest now. Invest for yourself and your future. Go to startengine.com/fanbase and own the next generation of social media.
I can't reiterate this enough. Listen to me clearly. I cannot reiterate this enough. When you've got technology companies running scared, when you've got legacy media not doing their job, when you've got black-owned media that is disintegrated, now is more than ever for us to have independent media that cares about the truth, that is willing to say what needs to be said. So when you support all of my uncle, this show, when you support the Black Star Network, you're not just supporting me, you're supporting the other shows. Our goal is to add 2 more shows this year. We want additional shows. We want more daily shows. Because we want to be able to speak truth to power. We want to be able to say what is necessary when other people are scared. And when you are scared, when you look over your shoulder, oh my God, that advertising contract is not going to come in. But guess what? A lot of these major ad agencies, they're not going to support us anyway. You know, in 6 years of doing this show, Group M hasn't done a damn thing with us. Publicis hasn't done anything with us. You've got Horizon, you've got all these folks, they haven't done that. And so we are calling it like we see it, and we're speaking truth. And unlike some of these other so-called progressives, people who believe in truth, I'm not running around trying to kiss MAGA ass, to kiss Trump ass. I won't be going to Mar-a-Lago. Not for a damn thing. And so this is about us being able to speak truth. When you support this show and this network with your resources, this is exactly what is happening. Is we are trying to build something that is bigger than water and actually encourage what some of what needs to be said, even when it makes other folks uncomfortable. We will continue to do the Cash App. Use the Stripe QR code you see it right here. And if you are listening, simply go to blackstarnetwork.com and check it out. Also, if you want to check your money order, some of y'all old school, you understand that. You can check your money order at PO Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003-7-0196. PayPal, Martin Unfiltered, Venmo, Card, and Unfiltered Zelle. Roland at RolandSmartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. And again, folks, we've got some 4 million social media followers. There are only 20,000 of our fans who contribute at least $50 each. It comes out to $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. That's $1 billion. That allows us to do the community video to add new shows and what is required. So your support is needed. So please join our Freedom Fan Club. White talked about these executive orders and how MAGA and Donald Trump, how they are specifically targeting Black America with these orders. Now, many folks, well, yeah, I don't know about all of that, but what have I always told y'all? You have to follow the money. That if you're not having a money conversation, you're not having an American conversation. So, you often hear me refer to the Reconstruction periods on this show. I mention that all the time. Why do I mention that? It is because you've heard me also say, in the history of America, every time there's been a period of Black success, there's been a longer period of white backlash. And see, now you got people like Senator Bernie Sanders and Senator Chris Murphy and others, and who just, for them, they no, this is not race, this is class. It's not what it is, but no, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. See, what you have to realize is that if you go back to the first Reconstruction, if you really want an understanding of this, and I guarantee you, if Greg was at home, he would reach back and grab it. He was there. If you really want to understand this, you have to understand this. This is called Black Reconstruction in America, 1860 to 1880, written by W.E. Du Bois. This here, y'all, for those of you who include the bibliography, is if you even include the index, this is a 746-page book where he talks about the period of Reconstruction. What is the period of Reconstruction? It is that period after the end of the Civil War when you had a focus of the radical Republicans, which is not today's Republican Party. The radical Republicans, and if y'all really want to learn some history, go look up Thaddeus Stevens. These radical Republicans, they had no interest in bipartisanship. They wanted to change America. They said, damn the other people, we got the majority, run the bills through. That's how you got the 13th Amendment, 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, which are called the Reconstruction Amendments. That's when you began to look at the Civil Rights Act that was passed in the 1860s that provided a framework for African Americans to be able to access, listen y'all, contracts. I don't think some of y'all heard what I just said. One of those laws that was passed. It was not passed in 1854. It wasn't around the same time as Dred Scott decision. This particular act was passed because radical Republicans understood that coming out of Reconstruction, that the free people of African descent needed to be able to access the economic levers of the country in order for them to be able to move ahead. Now, if you look at it real quick here, I pulled it up. You see this AI overview. The Civil Rights Act of 1866 was the first federal law in the United States to define citizenship and protect the civil rights of all citizens. It also was a bill that dealt with economics. It was economics. And so what began to happen during Reconstruction? I would argue that the Reconstruction period, the first one, is the most successful period in the history of America for people of African descent. Because what happens in the Reconstruction period, you then begin to see free people of African descent running for state legislature. You see them being elected to Congress. Do y'all realize that which we now know to be hardcore right-wing Confederate, the first state that succeeded from the Union because
Everybody ain't kumbaya.
Do y'all even recognize that taxpayer-funded education is a result of those free people of African descent putting it in the state constitution? James B. Anderson, who wrote The Education of Blacks in the South, 1860 to 1935, details that. You then begin to see, I know a lot of people get caught up in 40 acres and a mule, but black folks were not waiting on 40 acres and a mule. They began to acquire property. They began to open businesses. You then begin to see, we talk about Black Wall Street in Tulsa in 1921 burning down. You literally had Black Wall Streets happening all over the country beginning during Reconstruction. But what then happened? And you can look at Eric W.B. Du Bois' book, or if you want to, you can read Eric Foner's book, Reconstruction, America's Unfinished Revolution. He has it from 1863 to 1877. 1877 is kind of important. I want to get to it. So what then happens? All of a sudden, you begin to see African Americans creating opportunities, for passing deals. You begin to see them building things and doing things and opening schools. And all of a sudden, you begin to have white folks who then go, you know what? That's enough. We done enough for these Negroes. Listen, we got tired of hearing about all this stuff we need to do. Yeah, I know we had them enslaved for 200 plus years, but can we just move along? We don't have time. America started getting, white America started getting tired of doing things for those people. We've done enough for those. Then there's the election, 1876, the contested election. Oh, sounds quite familiar. And so the Republicans and Democrats, then all of a sudden begin to say, well, you know what? Democrats say, well, hey, we're going to let y'all go ahead and y'all can go ahead. Y'all had a presidency. But we don't do it then. Y'all got to pull these federal troops in the last 3 remaining to the capitals. Oh, I'm sorry. Remember I told y'all they kept saying we get tired of that? See, what happened was they put federal troops in state capitals to ensure that the Dixiecrats, the racists, would not take over. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back. See, one of the big mistakes of Lincoln and the radical Republicans, of course, remember Lincoln gets assassinated, being he is followed by an absolute violent racist, Andrew Johnson. What then happens, he then goes, you know what? The hell with that. We're going to return the land to the slave owners if they apologize for what they did. So America put the folk back in power, the ones who led the Civil War. So what then happens, you then begin to have this election, it gets contested. So then there's a compromise. We ain't in the room. The white folks were making a deal. And that's known as the Great Compromise of 1877. Do y'all know what came after the Great Compromise of 1877? The Reconstruction period ended. That's when the period of Jim Crow started. White folks were like, no, we have done enough for these black people. We are sick and tired of doing this. So then we come around to a second Reconstruction. All of a sudden, Emmett Till gets killed August 28, 1955. And all of a sudden, you have these black women in Montgomery, Alabama, the Women's Council, who were organizing, and they were doing what they were supposed to do. Then all of a sudden, you then begin to have these black women. It was not the black preachers. It was not the black men. It was the black women in Montgomery, Alabama, who were the ones who started the Montgomery bus boycott. Then Rosa Parks sits down. It began December 1st, 1955. They began to bring them to their knees. But understand, Montgomery, Robert, the Supreme Court, but then Montgomery, Buffalo, it was a money thing, y'all. That began a 13-year odyssey. When you begin to see the fight over civil rights, you then begin to see the laws passed, the Civil Rights Act of 64, the Voting Rights Act of 65, the Fair Housing Act of 1968. And guess what happened? You had these Republicans who actually were supportive of civil rights, and all of a sudden Barry Goldwater was for president in 1964. He was a senator from Arizona, and then what does Barry Goldwater do? Barry Goldwater then he opposes the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That was his bedrock. King was so offended by that that King actually campaigned for President Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1964, something that he never did. But they said it was so important for Goldwater not to win because Barry Goldwater was going to stop civil rights in its tracks. Why is that important? Why is Barry Goldwater's opposition to the 64 Civil Rights Act so important? Because the 64 Civil Rights Act dealt with public accommodations. It dealt with, you couldn't bar people from restaurants and transportation. You could go on and on. Oh, I'm sorry, that means that you couldn't bar, you could not discriminate against people. And so, guess what? They inserted women into the 64 Civil Rights Act. That racist from Virginia, Judge Smith, thinking that would kill the bill. It actually helped pass the bill. That's important because you can now go to Title IX. That's one of the reasons why it was passed, because the 64 Civil Rights Act is for the Civil Rights Act. Why is it important? Because what happens? King gets killed before 1968, assassinated. 69. Nixon becomes president. Arthur Fletcher brings in for affirmative action. You have a period from 68 to the early 80s where black mayors begin to take over. You begin to see contracts, quotas, affirmative action, dollars. Second Reconstruction. You get dollars flowing during the first one. You get dollars flowing in the second one. So you get to the 80s. Nixon is gone. Carter, president. Reagan runs. Oh, same President Ronald Reagan, who was governor of California, running for governor of California, supported a bill for white folks not allow them not to sell their houses to black people. Some of y'all don't pay attention. The same Reagan who became governor, who when the Black Panthers brought their guns to the state capitol, they immediately outlawed carrying long rifles. They said, oh, hell no. You know, that was actually legal. The same Reagan who changed the rules that caused for tuition in college to be charged because they did not want the regular, ordinary, common man to become educated. Man, some of y'all are going to have to learn some damn history. So what happened? So he appeared in 69 to about 82, 83. And Reagan wins in 1980. About inaugurated 1981. What was Reagan then do? Reagan begins to go after affirmative action programs. You then begin to see the lawsuits happen. You begin to see the decisions coming down out of the Supreme Court where they then begin to put restraints on affirmative action. That's an economic situation. And Reagan, in his 8 years, begins to unleash holy hell economically against black people. And then what happens on May 25th, 2020? George Floyd is killed. George Floyd is killed on May 25th, 2020, and folk like me said, y'all, this is the third Reconstruction. We said in that aftermath that unlike the first two, which largely focused on civil rights, although economics was a part of it, this should be solely focused on civil rights. What happens in the aftermath of the murder of George Floyd? You begin to see white people and Latino folks, and you begin to see Asians protesting, shutting companies down, forcing them to make economic commitments to be change agents. White conservatives think, oh shit, can have this. We cannot have a generation or two of young white people who are reading and being educated race theory comes after George Floyd's death. Oh, some of you may say, well, I still don't understand. What's the deal here? Because the attacks on CRT and the attacks on wokeness were all designed